Okay, so this question comes up often in our office, and it's always about your young driver, whether they should or shouldn't be listed on your policy. Quick answer, it depends. So if you've followed us for any amount of time, or you've talked to your insurance agent, or if you have a driver between the ages of 15 and 25, you have had a conversation with your insurance agent about should my young driver be listed on our policy. And if you haven't, or you need to. Let's go there. So the quick answer is, in the state of Illinois, yes, your young driver needs to be listed on your policy. When they're permitted and they don't actually have a license, the answer is no. That's about the only time. There are a couple of carriers out there that will allow you to put a permitted driver on your policy to help with rates and get you to a point when they do get their license that they have now had insurance for a specific amount of time, and it actually gives them a slightly better rate than if you don't take that action. However, for the most part, what we see is people who are getting that 16-year-old driver. There is a lot of information out there where my student driver may not need to be listed until they have an accident, and then that's an issue. And that is the furthest thing from the truth possible. If there is a licensed driver in your home who has regular access to your vehicles. Now, I'm going to pause there. Regular access to your vehicles does not mean that they're driving your brand new Mercedes, BMW, Hyundai, or Ford on a regular basis. It just means that they live in your home, and those keys in that car are in your home on a regular basis. They live in the same home that car is garaged at. That is the layman's version of regular access. Now, if you have a licensed driver in a home with regular access to your vehicle, they need or must be listed on your auto insurance policy to be rated appropriately. In the event that that driver moves that vehicle for any reason, they back it out of the driveway to move their car, they run to the store, they do anything at all, your carrier is not obligated to pay any claims, whether it's property damage or bodily injury that may result from that claim. And this is where you get into some trouble. You may have a child who is off at school and they take their car with them. Maybe they're in a different state. They still need to be on your policy. They still technically, because they're just a student away at school, they need to be, and their vehicle needs to be on your policy. Now, when they exit school, we see this one a lot. When they exit school, it is less expensive for them to stay on your policy than for them to go get their own. However, state guidelines will require, if they no longer live in your home, if you have no insurable interest, meaning you're not on the loan and you're not on the title of that vehicle, that young driver now needs to go get their own policy. And this is kind of one of those sticky wickets where there are times when, as parents, we want to help and guide our children and protect them financially, and helping them with their insurance cost is something that we like to do. However, when you do that, make sure you're doing it right. If you want to help them pay those premiums. Do not put them on your policy when they don't live in your home, when that vehicle has no insurable interest to you or your spouse. Do not put them on your policy when that vehicle is garaged somewhere else on a regular basis, especially if that is across state lines. Now, back to the hard part here, and the thing that none of us want to hear is, anytime we make a choice that is not in line with what a carrier is recommending, and again, our team and an insurance agent's team is to advocate for you and to help you navigate the rules and the laws that are put out there by the Department of Insurance and the carriers themselves. So don't hold this against the messengers or your agents. When this happens and you choose to do something contrary, you are guilty of what's called material misrepresentation. And when you are guilty of that, you can, A, have your policies canceled at renewal. They will just non-renew your policies and not offer you coverage anymore. Number two is that actually goes inside of a database, and other carriers are going to see that, and you may have a difficult time getting coverage in the future. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. Number three is, in the event of a claim, they just don't pay it. And now you've paid all these premiums. You've had a trusted relationship with your agent and that carrier for how many years? And when you needed them most, they did not pay because they're not obligated to, because the rules were broken and the conversation wasn't had. And essentially, it's called a rate manipulation tactic, where you decided not to tell your carrier about a young driver. You did not pay for that young driver, and now that young driver increased your risk, ultimately got into an accident, and your carrier is going to need to pay out here. They most likely will not, for obvious reasons. So if you don't know by now, my name is Patrick McBride, and if you lasted the whole 4 or 5 minutes into this video, I assume that you have young drivers and you may have questions about your auto insurance. Our agency is licensed here in Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Missouri. We would love to help you and your family around with your auto or home insurance. We have an entire division dedicated to commercial insurance as well. If you own a business, we love contractors, manufacturers, real estate investors, anything on that line we do really, really well with, and we love to work with those kind of business owners. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop something in the comments or shoot me an email with the information below.